morning and welcome to one and all. University of Mumbai takes pride in welcoming Professor Moolchand Sharma, Vice Chancellor of Central University of Haryana. He is accompanied by our Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. Rajan Vedukar, Director BCUD Dr. Rajpal Hande, and Professor Kothari, Head of Department of Physics and also the convener of this ICE lecture series. As per our tradition, let us begin today's program with the university song.
Idam sundaram mandiram sharadaya Mumbapuri Vishwavidyalayam. Idam sundaram mandiram sharadaya Mumbapuri Vishwavidyalayam. Kalashastravani Jashakha Vinudha Amudha Vimukta Vihangavayam. Shruvantu sarve dridham nishchayam. Shruvantu sarve dridham nishchayam. Idam sundaram mandiram sharadaya Mumbapuri Vishwavidyalayam. Satyam vadamo dharmam charamo nayamo nृणा dukkha bharam layam. Satyam vadamo dharmam charamo nayamo nृणा dukkha bharam layam. Swakaye ratanam sada jagrutanam bhavet kim bhavishyeti tasmat bhayam. Shruvantu sarve dridham nishchayam. Shruvantu sarve dridham nishchayam. Idam sundaram mandiram sharadaya Mumbapuri Vishwavidyalayam. Yuvasyad balishto yuvasyad garishto yuvadheyanishto vibhuyad vayam. Yuvasyad balishto yuvasyad garishto yuvadheyanishto vibhuyad vayam. Yadi syat yuva rashtrakartau vyanishta samanet tattvam vilokatrayam. Shruvantu sarve dridham nishchayam. Shruvantu sarve dridham nishchayam. Idam sundaram mandiram sharadaya Mumbapuri Vishwavidyalayam. वन्दामहे भारतं पूजनीयं स्वदेशात् परं नास्ति देवालयम्. वन्दामहे भारतं पूजनीयं स्वदेशात् परं नास्ति देवालयम्. अत्रैव सर्वे प्रतिष्ठापयामो ममत्वेन सार्धं समत्वं नयम्. शृण्वन्तु सर्वे दृढं निश्चयम्. शृण्वन्तु सर्वे दृढं निश्चयम्. इदं सुन्दरं मन्दिरं शारदाया मुम्बापुरी विश्वविद्यालयम्. कलाशास्त्रवाणिज्यशाखा विरूढा अमूढा विमुक्ता विहङ्गावयम्. शृण्वन्तु सर्वे दृढं निश्चयम्. शृण्वन्तु सर्वे दृढं निश्चयम्. शृण्वन्तु सर्वे दृढं
On behalf of University of Mumbai, now I request our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Rajan Velukar, to greet our today's chief guest, Professor Sharma. Now I call upon our Honorable Vice Chancellor to give his opening remarks on this program.
Good morning, everybody. Respected Dr. Moolchand Sharma, the Vice Chancellor of Central University, Haryana. My colleagues in the university, Dr. Hande, Professor Kothari, heads of the Department of University of Mumbai, teachers from various departments and colleges, and my dearest young student friends. I am happy to welcome Dr. Moolchand Sharma on behalf of myself, university, and on behalf of all of you, and on behalf of the students and audience from various locations through AView. I must thank Professor Moolchand Sharma for accepting our invitation. In spite of his busy schedule in Delhi, and in spite of he was not feeling well yesterday, as a commitment to University of Mumbai, he is with us. So thank you very much, sir. And as I have briefed you about the lectures, I am not going to speak about the lectures which we had in the series of Eyes. Eyes is the title. The long form of it is Enlighten Yourself Every Saturday. And this is the 10th lecture in the series which you are going to deliver, and I am sure we will enjoy your lecture. But this lecture is different than the earlier lectures, because the earlier lectures were on science and technology, and this lecture is on science without humanities. Can we think of science without thinking of humanity? And from that angle, he is going to deliver a lecture today to all of us. And of course, after your session, sir, they will ask you questions. But in few minutes, 1 or 2 minutes, I would like to say why I have included this lecture in the series of science and technology lectures. The strength of humanity lies in 3 words. Number 1 is love, number 2 is kindness, and number 3 is social intelligence. So strength of humanity lies in 3 words. Whatever you do in your life, even if you are coming out with an innovation, you are creating something, you need to remember these 3 words. Because every one of us needs love. Every one of us feels that somebody should love us, either mother or father or friends or anybody else. So as you need love, whatever innovations which you are going to do through science, all those innovations you will have to keep in mind from these 3 words. Second is kindness. You feel that somebody should be kind to us. The similar thing others are also feeling and others are also expecting from you. The third is social intelligence. You are living in a society, and therefore you need to understand the society. Unless and until you understand the society, you are not going to achieve the happiness which you want in your life. You are not going to achieve success, which is long-term success, sustainability which we are talking about. And therefore, this topic I have included in this lecture series of science and technology. through this enlighten yourself every Saturday. Otherwise, if these three things are missing, then what happens? Atom bomb, 6th August 1945 and 9th August 1945. Hiroshima and Nagasaki. You just see the pictures of them. And what is the kind of feeling that pilot was having later on in his life? How he suffered in his life. Because he dropped the bombs, he was not knowing what is going to happen. Do we want those kind of innovations, and do we want those kind of thinking? That what for we have to use science? Now chemical weapons, which now in Korea, what is going on, Korea and US. What do we want? What we have done to our land by using chemical fertilizers. So all scientific innovations and scientific research which we are doing, we will have to think from this angle. Unless and until you think from this angle, I am sure we will not be able to live happily, and we will not be able to get success in our own life. And therefore this topic came to my mind. And none other than Professor Moolchand Sharma can speak on this topic. And therefore I have invited Sir to you to University of Mumbai, and I am sure we will enjoy your lecture, and we will put your lecture on the web portal, which we are going to put lectures of all the people, and we are going to try and bring a print copy of lectures of everybody, and I am sure you will not have any objection to that, so that it can be distributed to all the colleges. So with this, once again I thank Professor Moolchand Sharma. Thank you very much.
I request our Director BCUD to introduce our today's speaker.
Respected Professor Moolchand Sharma, Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. Rajan Vedukar, Dr. Kothari, my dear colleagues and student friends. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce an eminent speaker, Professor Moolchand Sharma, who is currently the Vice Chancellor of Central University of Haryana, and he is a former Vice Chairman of UGC. Professor Sharma has also been the Secretary of UGC, and prior to that, Director of National Law University, Bhopal. When he was a Professor of Law at Delhi University, he was appointed as Officer on Special Duty for Academic Affairs and in charge of international collaboration. He was invited as Research Advisor by the National Human Rights Commission and was earlier National Consultant of UGC on Human Rights Education. Senior Research Advisor at the Ford Foundation and Expert Legal Advisor with the Law Commission of India. He has also worked in the Supreme Court as Joint Registrar of Research for Research. He is known for his eminence in constitutional jurisprudence, human rights, and also possesses vast experience of educational policy making and higher education administration. Recognizing his vast research experience and academic accomplishment, that he was invited as research advisor by National Human Rights Commission for about 3 years. And I am happy to mention Professor Moolchand Sharma, when he was a Vice Chairman of UGC, the University of Mumbai is benefited at all the time. He is instrumental in giving number of projects and number of centers. And one of the center here, the Center for Human Development at Department of Economics. Professor Moolchand Sharma was instrumental in this. Professor Sharma has had numerous publications, including issues of poverty, development, and human rights. He worked on rule of law, democracy, and human rights has been very widely acclaimed. So we are very proud to have this eminent speaker, Professor Moolchand Sharma. Thank you.
We are now kindly handing over the session to Professor Moolchand Sharma.
A very good morning to you all. Honorable the Vice Chancellor and a very valued, distinguished friend and soul keeper, rather conscience keeper, Dr. Rajan Velukar, Professor Hande, and my very newly developed friend, Professor D.C. Kothari. In fact, he gave me company from airport to the place where I'm staying last evening, and so many things I learned from him also. And head of the department, distinguished faculty members, and you all distinguished researchers, scholars, and learners. It's a wonderful day for me of learning. Professor Velukar was very generous and very kind when he extended this invitation to me, but I was little nervous, and I thought that am I exposing myself to a very unbearable situation for me and unbearable situation for those who bestow their love to come and listen to me. And what came to my mind was that there is a kabaddi player. Now he goes in the center of the football players. And now tell me what will happen. Only two of many possibilities which I thought were important to be shared with you. Either he will create a complete chaos and disorder. If supposing other players are mindful of it, that he's a naive, he's a novice, by accident he has landed himself here, and therefore we should ensure that no harm happens to him. But in that process, what will happen? They will have to play foul. They will have to forget their art, skill, and culture of playing that game. So the entire game is destroyed. Or what happens? If they do not show that generosity to him and they show their passion for the game itself, then the fellow will be badly bruised, hurt, injured, fractured, hospitalized. Okay? So I thought of this kind of scenario I'm exposing myself to. But then I prepared myself because of such a great affectionate invitation from Professor Velukar, followed by his second person in command, Naresh Chandra, and yesterday the kind of learning I acquired from Professor Kothari, I got convinced that it's a great learning opportunity for me, even if I am injured and wounded and fractured, or even if I create disorder and chaos for you. And my gravity of this paradigm or this conundrum that either I create a disorder or I get wounded goes further deep when I look to the kind of people who have come and addressed to you in this wonderful program your Vice Chancellor devised, enlightenment, enlighten yourself every Saturday. What a path-breaking idea. This is called the vision, right? Now, kind of people who came to enlighten you. So far as I'm concerned, I'm going to be enlightened by you, okay? But those who came to enlighten you, when I look to their list, and when I find people like Professor Chidambaram or Dr. Mashelkar or Ramaswamy or Professor Pathak or Professor Kale or Professor Desai, I wonder, do I deserve even to go into the football stadium? Or I will be called a rowdy and arrested outside. See, speaking after them and talking something about science seems very nonsensical, but I am willing and I am interested in creating that nonsense because I am too motivated by self-centeredness. And my self-centeredness is, I want to be enlightened by you great science scholars and my great friend like Professor Velukar, who in one short statement comprising of 4 sentences, in fact, brought the heart, soul, rhythm, music, grammar, and alphabets of what I was going to say. I simply say, I endorse, 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 and become follower of what he has said. That should be the bottom line of my lecture. Now coming to creating that chaos which I told you, and I hope you will bear with me, right? And even if you want to bruise me, and you're most welcome, right? Because I have come to pay that cost, because I have to learn from you. Albert Einstein, I can't quote any big scientist who has been badly abused, misused, whose science was badly abused and misused. But still he is considered to be one of the key scientists. And see that paradigm he places before us, and particularly for me, and particularly for these great scientists. He said, a scientist who is not able to explain his subject to his grandmother does not know his subject. I repeat, a scientist who does not know how to convey his subject to his grandmother, not mother, grandmother, right, does not know the subject. And therefore, it is applicable not only to a scientist, but I take it to higher level. And what I say is, a person who does not know how to communicate the subject which he claims to be having proprietary upon to the people of generation of your grandparents, that means you don't know the subject. If you really have full knowledge or command of the subject, you should be at ease to talk to the topmost in this discipline and the one to whom that discipline to serve. And if science has to serve not only young of 16, but also as much it has to serve, rather it has to serve more a person 2 generations prior to you who was born. And therefore I think science rules the rest, science rules the time, science rules the humanity. I have no contest to make in accepting this statement. But equally there is another statement. And I was wondering that Professor Velukar, he and I were taking dinner together somewhere. And he gave this idea that, look, I'm going to have this program of eyes and I'm inviting all these big people. And then suddenly he slipped, will you also come and say something? I said, but what do I say? Because I'm not a scientist. So he said, you may not be a scientist, but you can definitely talk of science and science relevance. And this is how the topic came, science without humanity. I told you I'm creating disorder for you. I'll come to technical aspects also a moment later. So if I started with Einstein, another great human being, one may contest, one may agree, one may disagree with Gandhi's philosophy, but one cannot easily contest that he is the one who is a great figure and a great human being, right? And see, what did he say about science? He gave us list of 7 sins. Like you have got 10 commandments. He gave us list of 7 sins. And when he said work without leisure, entertainment without contribution, commerce without ethics. The fourth and the most important thing which he said, and which according to me is the theme, is the title, is the inspirational force for me to collect the courage and talk to you. And that sin was science without humanity. I'm saying quote unquote. Science without humanity, according to him, is one of 7 sins which a man can commit against another man or woman. Right? When I'm using the word man, I want to include women because when these stuff were written, okay, when these ideas were generated, we were living in a society where male chauvinism, it exists even today. But at that point of time, it was professedly practiced and propagated. And therefore, wherever I'm using the word man to save my time and energy, please take it both ways. But please mark what Gandhi said. And therefore, talking of science without talking of humanity, according to me, is the sin. And that's why this EYES program has elevated itself not by inviting me or not by listening to me, but has elevated itself by connecting it to Professor Valuekur's that great vision that science without humanity is no science. Please mark what is the sentence I'm using. I say science without humanity is no science. Because what is the sole purpose of science? What is the sole purpose of commerce? What is the sole purpose of any kind of development you talk about? What is the purpose of science? To induce human security, to induce human peace, to induce human solidarity. And if science doesn't do it, then I don't think it is science. It is totally unscientific approach. When you talk of science and scientific approach, what do you mean by scientific approach? Can it be scientific that I occupy the entire room and I ask people to crouch under the heat and keep on serving me things? Frustration will come, struggle will come, revolution will come. Please mark, there is a beautiful book written by a professor from Dalhousie City University. And in that book, that lady, Helen Shaheen, her name is Helen Shaheen, and she writes, a huge, bulky book of running into 279 pages. I had just occasion to glance at it vertically, not here. Some 3 years ago, I was somewhere else, and suddenly the book came on my table. So I just gave a vertical glance, and I was completely taken aback. That entire book is what? The entire book says that there is inbuilt interaction between philosophy, sociology, history, economics, and science. There's a complete bondage. You cannot read one without reading another, and you cannot read another without reading one, because it is the politics, it is the economics, it is the commerce, it is the trade, it is the history, it is the culture, which is going to inspire, inform the kind of science you do. And It is a science which will create new history, new culture, new values, new ethics. And therefore, please understand, what happens is there is an integration, there is complete bondages of relationship between philosophy, history, sociology, politics, economics. Think for a second, think for a second. What is politics? Politics is nothing but economics.